Hi everyone, today's assignment is on the Enlightenment philosophers, and the purpose of this video in the lesson is to first of all point out a couple of attachments that are on the bottom of the page that will be part of the assignment. The first attachment is the worksheet. I would suggest opening it up right now as you watch this video, because you'll need this worksheet when you watch the Enlightenment philosophers video that's takes place later on in this assignment. When you are filling out this worksheet, there's a couple things. Be sure to fill out the portion on the Enlightenment philosophers that we're studying this fully about, be sure to explain their philosophies and their importance to history when you're talking about John Locke, Voltaire, Montesquieu, and Rousseau. And then also on the terms, be sure to write as many notes as possible on these, because all of these things in the notes will help you answer the biggest portion of this assignment, which is the focus question. And the focus question is, which Enlightenment philosopher expressed the most democratic ideas? You need to use the PEA method to answer this question. So the evidence portion of the PEA method is going to come from your notes. That's where the evidence portion is going to come from. You need to provide, evidence in quotes or facts or, anything else you provide evidence when you're making your point. And then your analysis will be how you tie the point and evidence together in your answer. It's going to be a short answer question, so be sure you write in paragraph form, you check your spelling, check your grammar, and, treat it like it's a short essay. Okay? That's the worksheet. The next thing I want to talk about is there is a rubric attached for this assignment, and it's a rubric having to do with the PEA method. The note-taking portion is 40% of the grade, but the 60%, the majority of the assignment is the 60% is from the focus question answer that you give. And here's the rubric on that focus question answer that you're going to give. Okay, that is attached below. Now the lecture, I'm just going to give a brief lecture on the Enlightenment philosophers. And the philosophers that we're talking about today are, let me get into we'll get over here. We're going to be covering our Locke, Montesquieu, Rousseau, and they don't show Voltaire in this picture, but it is also Voltaire. And, these... you see from the dates that they're born, you start seeing these Enlightenment philosophers in the 1600s, 1700s, around that time. And the reason that they start popping up at this time, you might be asking yourself, why all of a sudden, after thousands of years of civilization, are there these Enlightenment philosophers all of a sudden popping up? And that could be attributed directly, it's cause and effect, from the printing press. The printing press was invented in 1450 by Gutenberg, and prior to the printing press, information was not as readily available to everyone in society. It was primarily, it was almost a something that was reserved just for the rich, because most people couldn't read, because books were so hard to come by. You could only really afford to buy a book if you were rich. And that's because people had to handwrite books prior to the printing press. So you can imagine how much a handwritten book costs to buy, and it wasn't that wasn't available to the poor or even the middle class. It would be hard to justify buying a book when there's so many other things that you need to you need to buy on a day-to-day basis. So really, the royalty and the extremely rich could afford to buy books, so therefore they were the ones that were getting all of the information. So that's just a very small percentage of society. Once the printing press starts becoming more readily available, the printing press makes books and just the writing by different people more readily available, this vast amount of knowledge in the world starts to pass from person to person, and there's a larger percentage of the population that is learning, and they're coming up with their own ideas. Also, the ideas that are pushed forward by the Enlightenment philosophers are not really, things that are popular, if you're a noble, or, if you're a king or a queen, because it's really pushing ideas like, all people are created equal, and government should express the will of the people, those types of things. So, this is also putting, knowledge in a different, a different group of people's hands, and it's a different viewpoint. They're giving a whole different viewpoint. They're applying their knowledge from a different viewpoint. It's not just a viewpoint from the rich. So this is really why the Enlightenment philosophers are coming at the time they are. I mean, you could be directly attributed to the printing press, and you could also go into Google and read more about the printing press and its importance, and how it could be, directly related to the Enlightenment philosophers that are later discussed in this assignment. All right, so that's all I have in the lecture, just a brief lecture. And if you have any questions, please, that further on this topic, please email me, or text or call, whatever you want to do, and I'll be happy to answer any further questions on that. And then we also have the focus question right here too. All right, thank you.